Hello, I'm Caroline Borneo, and this is Jack Gantos. He's an author who has written books for people of many ages, including Dead End in Norvelt, which he received the Newbery Award for, and Hole in My Life, which was a Printz Honor book.
So I read your book, A Hole in My Life, and you talk a lot about improving your writing as a teenager, and I was wondering, what exactly is your favorite part of writing?
Well, my favorite part of writing, and I know that some people don't really anticipate this answer, but my favorite part is really all the rewriting, because I find that the most nerve-wracking part is getting that good first draft down. But once I get that first draft, then I can go back and improve and build and just get the images right and every adjective in the right place and look between the words and find hidden sentences I hadn't thought of before. And I get to play with the rewriting. Some people think it's tedious. I think that's where the magic happens.
I can see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of books did you read as a kid? Like any notable ones that you can think of, or just a certain genre?
Well, as a kid, you just sort of climb the ladder.
Yeah.
You start off with brown bear, what do you see? I see a red bird looking at me, and then you go and hop on pop and go dog go, and then the hungry caterpillar and green eggs and ham and cat and hat, and then you're reading the classics, and then you start coming up into those little chapter books, Frog and Toad, those little 4 chapters, Danny and the Dinosaur, and then you move on up into the shorter novels like James and the Giant Peach and Charlotte's Web, and you like those books. Tuck Everlasting is a good one. And then you move up again. And suddenly what you are is you're finding yourself that you're just reading novels suddenly. Yeah. And then from the novels, then you just sort of branch out. And in my case, I had an older sister who was 3 years older than me, and she was a great reader. And so I just hitched my reading wagon to her list. Yeah. And she would read a book, and then I would pick it up. And my mom, too. I would read all my mom's books.
That's what me and my mom do, too.
Yeah, and I find that that's really good. And my mother was reading, like, John Cheever and Mario Puzo, and so I started reading that. I remember picking those up in, 8th grade. And I'm like, do I understand it all? I'm not quite sure. But it was great reading.
So I have a bit of a scenario for you.
Uh-oh.
If you were trapped on a desert island, what 5 things would you bring with you?
What 5 things on a desert island? Let's see, what would I bring? Well, there's certain books that I would really like to read before I completely drop dead. So, I haven't read Gibbons's The Rise and Fall of the Roman Empire, and I always think I should, and that's a hefty read, so that would keep me occupied for a while. I never did read the entire 1913 edition of the Chicago Century Dictionary, which is the best dictionary ever, or the complete OED, which would be great, right? The Oxford English Dictionary, that would be good. So probably that. Let's see, that's 3 things. I should have some comfort food, some comfort reading, something really, really nice, like on the road. Yeah. Since I won't be on the road, I'll just be on an island. And then after that, I'd probably have a flare gun.
That seems the most practical.
Yeah. After all that little reading, then I think, well, okay, somebody can rescue me now, but don't interrupt me in the meantime.
So what kind of music are you listening to? Like, what's on your playlist?
Well, when I go to the library, which I go to the library every day in Boston, I live right around the corner from libraries. That's how I designate where I want to live. Mm-hmm. And so I go into the Boston Athenaeum, nice 1807 junk of a library. They got good stuff. It's beautiful, And so at any rate, then I go to the top floor. So I have Pandora. Mm-hmm. On my computer, and usually what I do is I put on my headphones, because it's a no noise library. It's no cell phone use at all, and I usually listen to opera. And so I'm listening to opera, and then if I feel frisky, then I'll just throw in I don't know, Brian Ferry and Roxy music, and then from there I'm just climbing the ladder into all kinds of mischief, Amy Winehouse, but really in some sort of wacky mood.
I find it hard for me to listen to music while I read sometimes, though.
Sometimes it is. That's why I think opera works very well
opera
for me.
And classical music would be good.
Yes. I agree with you.
Speaking of reading, when you're at this really big Boston library,
Yeah.
what are your favorite things to read?
Well, let's see. We have 300 periodicals. So I love going to the periodical room. And my favorite periodical is Tombstone Quarterly. And it just goes to famous graveyards around America and photographs the tombstones and talks about sort of the archaeological elements on the tombstone and how to read the tombstones and the symbolism on them and various things like that. So then I move down into the literary section and I might read Paris Review or Agni. And then I move on down and there are wonderful history things. You know, we have Confederate stamp yearly, you know, because there's not a lot to write about there. And then you move into Dickens studies, and from there, there's great cooking magazines, and from those cooking magazines, and there's just, you know, American history, and then they break it down into Chesapeake Bay history and so forth. And so I just go round and up, and I always like reading Lapham's magazine, Lapham's Quarterly, which I think is really a brilliant quarterly as well, and then some good poetry thrown in there.
So you basically hit everything.
Oh, there's nothing in the library that I don't think is interesting. I mean, I can pull any book from a shelf and pretty much think this is going to be interesting. I mean, there is some dead wood up there, but it looks good, you know.
It looks good.
But we also have a rare book room with at least 50,000 rare volumes. So the one that everybody knows with the Boston Athenaeum is the book that is bound in skin. And it's a wonderful story. So there was a highwayman in Boston, right? And so he was robbing people at the old gates of Boston, which is just around the corner from where I live in the South End. And he was robbing people, and he boasted. He said, "If anybody can ever catch me, I will write my autobiography. You can hang me and bind the book in my own skin." So this is what this guy said. So sure enough, a member of the library captured him, right? So he got caught. But they got cheated because he died of consumption, which is kind of like TB, before he could write the autobiography. But he did dictate it, so they have it, and then they took him on his word and they bound him. So they got 2 sets of it. One's missing. We don't know where one is. But the coolest thing about the one that they do have, the original owner of it used to threaten his children. He said, if you're bad, I'm going to spank you with the skin book. You know?
That's so funny.
That'll straighten you up, won't it?
The skin book.
I know.
Well, you spend a lot of time at the library. Do you have a favorite librarian there?
I have 2 favorite librarians. I can't just have one. Mary and Carol. Any question you can formulate. If you can articulate it, they can find the answer to it. And they are just geniuses on discovering information. Not just in books, but online too, because we belong to a lot of databases that they can spelunk down and find stuff. So they are just infinitely helpful. For instance, when I was writing Dead End in Norvelt, and I was parsing all of those obituaries with historic moments, well, a lot of that information, that research, you know, I trot downstairs. "Hello, Mary, do you have a minute? You know, whatever happened on this date? You know, let's find some good juicy material." Poof, like magic, they find it.
So they helped contribute to a lot of the information in your books?
Oh, yes. When I was writing The Love Curse of the Rumballs and I was writing about the American eugenics movement, they had a lot of information on the American eugenics movement, which was vastly helpful. And of course, taxidermy, which, you know, is a big part of that book, since my uncles taxidermed their mother. That was, you know, kind of an issue.
Well, they sound like they were fun at parties.
You know, I knew them. They used to serve me ice cream. They had a pharmacy with a little ice cream parlor attached to it. And they were very nice. They were cheap. You know, so you'd go in there with a friend and they'd give you 1 scoop of ice cream and you had to split it. And I said something to my mom about that one. She said, "Yes, I know. And my cousin Jean and I come in together. They'd just give us 1 soda with 2 straws."
Oh.
Maybe that had something to do with their twinness. You know, they're always splitting things in half.
Oh.
Well, last question, Mr. Gantos.
Oh, sure.
And if you could have dinner with one person in the land of the living or one person not in it, who would it be and what would you eat?
Oh my God, who would it be? Let's get to the who would it be first. Dead or alive? Wow, that would be interesting. I think if I could really have dinner with somebody, I would really love that somebody to be Lewis Carroll. And it's, you know, it's 150th year anniversary of Alice in Wonderland. And I think I would love to be present at the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. That's what I think I'd love to do. And if that's not available, then I'll just have dinner with Herman Melville, and maybe we'll have a little piece of grilled whale's tail.
Thank you for letting us interview.
Well, thank you. And
It's been a pleasure meeting you.
oh, it's been so much fun for me.
Thanks for your time.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much. It's been just a treasure being in your community, and it's really a community that supports literature and books and really is the hub, I think, of any community is a good library, and you've got a good one here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.